out in the market here with Shipshewana Spice Company, one of my favorite vendors. Yes. And if I come into this booth, I'm constantly upselling because I love all the products. So who are you and how long have you been in the market?
I'm Kevin Horn. My family's been here for 40 years.
Wow.
Back in 1981 when I'm a third generation restaurant guy. So when my dad retired from the restaurant business back in 81, he started selling spices up here as a hobby. And then it turned into a viable business after several years. And so then about the time he was getting ready to retire from this, I thought, well, I like the hours better here than I do in the restaurant business, so I started coming about 25 years ago.
Awesome, that's exciting. So you sell how many varieties of spices? If
Got about 80. A lot of things are seasonal, so I'll even add things at different points of the year, but at any given time it's 80 to 85 different items.
Awesome. So of those 85 items, what are your top 4 selling items?
Well, the first one's easy. That's Happy Salt.
You got some product here.
Yeah, we're famous for that. The Happy Salt is our seasoning salt blend that we just sort of stumbled into that is just so popular that a lot of times in the summer I'll sell 100 cases a week up here.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so that makes me happy, but people are very fond of it, especially the Amish folks. It's in every Amish home around here, and I knew it was going to be successful when it started showing up in some of the Mennonite and Amish cookbooks
That's
around
awesome.
here.
As an ingredient for their recipes.
Yes,
awesome.
for all their casseroles and potatoes and soups and things like that.
So what is it good on then? What's the most?
Well, that's why it's so popular. It just works on everything. It's a seasoning salt with all kinds of different added ingredients that really sets it apart from like a Lowry's or something like that. And so it's popular with campers because they can season everything from the fried potatoes in the morning to the hamburgers at lunch to the stew at night. It's popular with people who, if they no matter what they cook, anything that's good with salt and pepper on meats, vegetables, salads, potatoes, and the Amish are quite fond of it for their soups and stews and noodles and that type of thing.
Wonderful. What are the other 3 that you have sitting here that are yours popular?
Well, another one popular is the garlic and cheese topper, and that's a very low salt. In fact, it's the only salt that's in it's what's in the cheese, so even a heart patient can have it. But that garlic and cheese makes the best cheesy garlic bread in the world in pasta dishes and all kinds of Italian-y type things. I even put it in my marinara sauce and meatballs and things like that. I have an all-purpose seasoning that doesn't sound very exciting, but it's a seasoning salt like what restaurants use, and that's very good. My taco seasoning is hugely popular. It's so much better than the packets at home that it has a cult following, so to speak. I mean, and it has become the second most popular item I sell. People come from miles around to buy that one, and it's in a nice big jar so you don't have to fuss with the packets and things like that. And then I have a salt-free herb blend called Mr. Hart's Salt-Free Seasoning. And that's probably my personal favorite because it adds complexity and depth of herbal flavor to no matter what you cook. So even if it's the best seasoning I have for like soups and stews and roasts and anything to add that complex herbal flavor to. And I'll even make compound butters, which just is a fancy way of saying like an herb butter.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, to put like on a steak or a roast, or maybe I'll zest a little orange rind. Now I got a citrus herb butter to put over that piece of grilled salmon, and that's pretty good stuff.
That sounds delicious.
It is.
Well, you've shared with me some recipes as well. I see you're tapping on this box of the breading.
Well, like I say, my
yes.
dad was the first one to start selling spices out here because he was an early Kentucky Fried Chicken guy. Back in the early days, back in the 60s. And he worked as a consultant for them, and that's how we ended up in the spice business, because he built a relationship with these spice people who provide spices for more like with restaurant chains and things like that, and the quality of those spices is higher than like your grocery store. So like the dry mustard I sell, that's made for French's mustard. I buy 100 pounds, have it bottled. Now that's the mustard that I sell to the public.
Wow, that's amazing. So do you have anything, you said you do seasonal, do you have anything new coming up the pikes that would be interesting, or are you just really a kind of a
Well,
keep 'em
I
strong
always,
and keep them moving.
yeah, well, I need to sell things with broad appeal because all my spices are freshly bottled.
Okay.
And they're bottled every couple of weeks, and I have to project out a month ahead of time. Well, I have to have a minimum of 100 pounds of anything.
Okay.
So I need to sell that 100 pounds in 4 or 5 weeks because I stress the freshness of these
Sure.
spices. So that way, I need to turn that 100 pounds over. So although nothing's on the front burner right now, I do introduce something new every year, and I'm kind of putting my feelers out right now. I've got a couple ideas, but I don't want to tip my hand. Right?
That's okay.
Yeah.
You don't have to share your secrets. Not at all. What would you think of as your own business? You said you worked with your dad, and then have done this yourself for 25 years. If I were to ask you, a few tips for new vendors that might be selling whatever product or where that it is, do you have any advice for new vendors or for a vendor just getting started out in the business?
Well, I think probably the most important thing, you've got to have a good product, first of all, something that you enjoy and is fun for you to deal with and spend time with. But also, I think you need to build a relationship with your customers. And that's what I do here is I treat everybody like a friend. I run this booth like if somebody would run a small restaurant. I say hello to my customers when they come in, and I want to know how they're enjoying things and if they like it, what they like, don't like. I'm catering to them, and so that's what my efforts are, to build a relationship with your customers and have a good product, and that's all it takes right there.